show. They said it was Dragon Ball Z and it was already airing, and it didn't make any sense to me how I could prepare for a role that was already airing. But what I didn't know was that they were recording the show in Canada, and they wanted to move the production to Texas, and they wanted to find people to match voice. So I went. I didn't have cable at the time, and I went. I was married at the time. I went to my wife's grandparents' house every day after I was done teaching music, and I would watch Dragon Ball Z. But the funny thing was, it was the part of the series where it's just Gohan and Piccolo hanging out. So I'm like, okay, I can not do that voice. I don't know about that voice. And so I just watched. I don't get it. They're just hanging out, and Piccolo is abusing Gohan. I mean, Child Protective Services would have been all over that. All over it. So I'm watching, I'm like, okay, it looks like there's two characters in this show. And for about 2 weeks, though, I always try to prepare. Now, by the way, that is really... you know, Stanislavsky wrote it best when an actor prepares. I had studied acting in college a bit, and so I knew a little bit about preparing. But my training as a musician, there's lots of preparation in classical music, so I was just going to take the same approach. I'm just going to learn, get as much data in my head as I could before I went to this audition. So I show up for the audition. Barry Watson, the producer, there, who I will soon do an impression of. Chris Sabat's there, who's I'm shaking his head. He knows Barry for a second. He knows what I'm going to do. It's going to talk like this. Barry, I come in and they put me in a room. Well, you get a waiting room, and then they go, we want you to imitate some voices, see? And Chris Sabat's there, and he's kind of the assistant director at the time. He's like, oh yeah, Sean, you do impressions of these guys from Ghana, okay? So they put me in a room with a videotape, and the videotape was edited together about 10 or 12 different voices. It was Goku, Raditz, Captain Ginyu, Gohan, Yamcha, Tien, Shenhan, and I had little snippets of each one. And they said, well, just sit in this room and listen to these voices, because that's what you're going to end up doing. So I'm listening. This is also part of the preparation process. And one of the key things I remember from being trained as a musician is to not leave your performance in the practice room. So I was in there and I was doing it over and over, and at some point, even though I had plenty of time, my voice is starting to bother me. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to sit here. And the temptation is to just keep doing it over and over because you're nervous. And this is where a little musical experience had paid off. And so I was stopping and I was waiting. They called me in. And Barry, come on, do the audition. It'll be great. Please come on in and do this.
No, he really does sound like that.
He does.
Kind of a dead all.
He's not like a work kid, so I can make fun of him. He's like, okay, why don't you do a character called Goku? And then like, so they had somebody recording, and we recorded all the voices, and I thought I nailed my Captain Ginyu audition. I really thought I did. I was like, I'm gonna be Captain Ginyu. It's gonna be awesome. Because I didn't know who anybody was really. I just went, they had character breakdowns, and then I waited and I called Chris. Oh yeah, Sean, just don't call us, we'll call you. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it would be great. It was really cool. I was so excited and so naive. And then he called me, oh yeah, you're gonna be Goku. And I'm like, well, who the hell's Goku? And I remember telling Sabat, I was like, my Captain Ginyu was real strong. Could you reconsider? Yeah, Sean, I think you'll be happy with this choice. Just come on in on this date, and you're going to start recording. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, oh, man, Captain Ginyu. So I get on the phone, and then I show up to work the first day, and I see all these pictures of Goku all over the offices of Funimation. I'm like, wait a second. I might be the guy. And I go in and I start recording. And wait a second. And I remember I didn't know I was the lead character until after the first 2 or 3 sessions. I thought I was just doing some guy who they happened to be focusing on. Where, no, this is the hero of the show. It's like, his name's Goku, and you must play him with pure heart. That's how you'll play it. A lot of stakes there, high stakes. That's what you tell me. And that is the story of how I prepared for the role of Goku. And then some. So, thank you.